lights are low and the fiber's fast. We got a connection that's built to last. Pull up a chair and let the data flow. You're about to see how the experts go. From the silicon heart to the cloud above. This is that tech-like lifestyle kind of love.
One of the people that I've learned from for years on video, actually just as I'm doing this podcast now, just met him now. So the videos and some of you former students who I've taught around the world, here's the gentleman I forced you to watch his videos with and stuff. And then my comrade, Garrett, who has been such a mentor and teaching me how to navigate and how to become a partner with CompTIA. Without any further ado, I wanted to get started. And Garrett, could you tell us a little bit about what's going on new with with CompTIA and specifically the AI search, and then we'll get into the technical nuances with James.
Sure. Thank you, Ronald. Nice to connect with everybody here. My name is Garrett Fleishman with CompTIA. I've been with CompTIA for just over 23 years now. So I've been around for a little bit of time. So Ronald, as you're speaking about AI here, a few things to think about. On around February 17th of this year, CompTIA launched a brand new cyber AI certification called SEC AI Plus. And in taking a look at a launch of a certification, which obviously we've been doing this since 1995 with the start of A+, or actually it might have been 1993. When you take a look at how we've been approaching the development of testing and launching certifications over the years, obviously we're taking a look at job trends, adoption, market adoption, and the launch of the certification and how it's rolling out into the industry. And I can report back in a positive manner that we are seeing some really good traction around SEC AI Plus as it's now been in the industry for just under 6 months maybe now. So we have now introduced an expansion certification called SEC AI Plus. So if you think about Security Plus candidates, for example, I've been in your area, in the Colorado area, and have been around a lot of people that have Security Plus, right? Back in, I believe, October of 2025, we surpassed 1 million Security Plus certified individuals. And that doesn't even take into account all the people that have gone through and have successfully trained and certified for CYSA Plus and Pen Test Plus. And now we have SEC AI Plus in the market, right? So we have a new product that is very much current and relevant to what the industry is looking for today around cyber and around AI, and really helping individuals to either upskill as an example, reskill, and putting tools in place for them to really better understand how to demonstrate those skills in the job environment, right? So when you take a look at writing a prompt and taking a look at quickly identifying anomalies within the prompt that you've written, right, and getting that output much faster than traditionally, how that's taken place. So in looking at SEC AI Plus, we're helping people to not only with the knowledge transfer, but also being able to demonstrate the skills and being able to apply on the job post-course, right? So it's a really exciting thing to look at. And then you also take a look at what we've done around more focused, what we call competency assessments. So many people know CompTIA for certifications, right? They're legally defensible. We've been doing them for a very long time. But the industry has come back to us and said, we are also looking for some other areas to train our staff around AI. And it could be something as basic as AI Essentials, which is about a 2 to 3 hour course with a competency assessment, or it can get a little bit more specific over a 6 to 8 hour time frame when we take a look at AI prompting, AI for sales, AI for marketing, AI for help desk. That's an interesting one when you take a look at A+, and what help desk professionals are looking for, not only with the hardware side of things, but help desk tickets, and as it relates to AI now, and having a product that focuses on AI for help desk. So we have, we've now launched SEC AI Plus. We have some AI Essentials courses. All the AI Essential courses are competency assessment, so they are not a certification, but upon successful completion of the course, you do receive a digital certificate, and that digital certificate can be uploaded into LinkedIn, other social platforms, or shared with your colleagues as as a reward or recognition for successful completion of something that's important for the industry today.
That's excellent, especially with the demand for help desk and entry level work that entails that. I was so happy when we talked the other day about that and introducing that, and even talking with some of the former students that I have that work in DoD contracting and how they should, even though they're working in that capacity, they should absolutely go and get those competency tests done and learn that and get.
Absolutely. Yeah. The other thing I'll throw out, and James can speak to this a little bit better than I can, but we have put SecAI Plus through ISO accreditation. So some folks on the call may be interested in that. And we are in a pending process with submission with DoD or DOW for 8140. So, that is happening behind the scenes as well. So I anticipate upon approval, we'll start to even see a greater impact with the certification, not only by the numbers of people taking the class, but the outcomes within the organizations and what employers are looking for today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, James, what do you think about the SecAI, the validate, and why people should consider it, especially being that, how big Security Plus has been, and that's been that go-to certification. Me personally, the SecAI is, I believe, that new thing for the future and that everyone should take, but you're the expert.
One of the things that I think SecAI Plus does is it captured the state of the industry like no other. It just basically said, look, here's what's top of mind. It really focused on three main things. One, how to secure AI platforms themselves. So if you're going to be a company that's going to bring AI in, whatever that is, that sound like Al Pacino there. Yeah. Pull me back in. Sorry. Yeah. If you're going to bring AI into your AI functionality platforms, whatever, into your company, how do you secure them? And there's all sorts of discussion, all sorts of this, that, and the other thing. But scalably, nobody has basically been able to say, here's the bar, there it is. And we did that. So that's the first thing that SecAI does. Second thing that it does, it basically says, we need to show people how to use AI to improve existing processes. We've been using red teams and blue teams. We've been doing cybersecurity threat intelligence for decades. Now with AI, a lot of those processes are being changed. So that's what the second thing that SecAI Plus does. It goes in and shows how those processes are made more efficient if you embrace AI in a smart way. And so that's what we did as well. And the final thing is, governance is a big deal these days. It's really important for organizations to adhere to standards. In the same way that CompTIA, we adhere to standards such as ISO 17024 in our processes because we create professional certs for professional people. Companies have to follow certain standards. Sometimes those are ISO standards, sometimes they're other standards. But it's really difficult to do that kind of compliance on an IT perspective when the technology is changing so quickly. So governance itself needs to be sped up. And that's one of the benefits that SecAI does. So long-winded way of explaining what I call the cybersecurity AI trifecta. Mm-hmm. Securing AI, improving processes, and doing governance. It's really neat. So it just captured kind of the spirit of what's going on out there. And no one else did it. And we did it first. So.
Well, what advice would you give IT professionals who want to prepare for the future of AI and cybersecurity? I got a little list of questions because a few different people I spoke with, those who have been in the industry. One of the key things too, I better add this to it. Sure. I promised them. He's been in IT for almost a decade, but it's been in a different capacity than bringing in AI into that. So where does he stand? Will this new group of individuals come and take his job? But in the same instance, what those that are starting out in IT, how does that fit for both sides of both parties?
That's a good. You got a good couple of questions there, and they're the ones that are very much top of mind. So the first one, I'll talk about the idea of First of all, people just starting out, yeah, you are seeing where AI is applying pressure on entry-level jobs, because what it's doing is it's requiring people to come into the industry with a little bit higher understanding of what they're doing. It used to be you could start with a fairly junior level job, and that's kind of been impacted on a certain level. So there is some there. So the first thing is get your foundations earlier. Get your tech foundations earlier. A lot of people, I'm sorry, but a lot of people, when they're learning on the job, what they're really doing is getting their tech foundations after the gig. You're not gonna be able to do that as much. But the other question that I think that you asked had to do with, if you've been in the job 10 years, and how do you better, how do you brace yourself for AI? Foundations, that's the same answer there. But the other thing I would say is learn how to interact better with AI. And identify areas of repetitive activities. And if it's a repetitive activity, then that's something that can be made more efficient. Also, as AI comes in and does take away certain things, don't lament that that's gone. Just kind of readjust yourself. So I think what you have to really figure out is this. The cybersecurity industry kind of holds itself back in a lot of ways. It really does. We tend to be very fashion conscious in cybersecurity. We want the latest and greatest thing, and we want to talk about that. That can be a good thing, and it can also hold us back because we forget that there are some of the fundamentals apply. But the other thing that holds us back is there is this belief in the industry, and it's justified to a certain extent, that security can only be handled by people who are grizzled veterans and have been around a long time. Yet there's a fundamental contradiction here, because so many organizations are now saying, oh, AI makes it possible for us to replace workers. And I don't see that. I don't think that's accurate. It's a contradiction. So wait a minute, you need a grizzled veteran. So how long did you take your AI? How long did you train, your AI? 10 minutes? Not at all. Well, that's not a grizzled veteran. That's not somebody who applies wisdom. So that person that you're talking to, I would say this, focus on your domain knowledge. There's a word for that. It's called wisdom. Get deeper into understanding the things that you know, and think in terms of architectures and systems, and become what I call a process whisperer. Process whisperer, in other words, how we make stuff. If AI can make images quicker than a traditional image person who, gets out Photoshop or whatever and creates images, then you need to adjust and adjust how you're thinking. And don't worry that that's been taken away. There's plenty more to do. The final way that I think the cybersecurity industry has kind of done itself in some ways is that we only have so many people who can get that special purple unicorn skill. Well, this is not the case. We can all get there, and AI can help us. And this has led to a situation where, with cybersecurity workers, we kind of have too few workers, almost on purpose. So let's open things up here and get more AI workers in and everything, and you'll find that we will solve more problems. And as the rest of the non-technical business owners realize that cybersecurity people solve problems rather than just saying no, or I'm busy, or I'm burnt out, then, we'll all improve. We'll all move forward with confidence. Oh, well, sorry, long answer there.
That's a great point, James. And you and I have been to many events together, standing at a table, having conversations with people. And I think one of the more common things we see is the foundation missing, based on where the individual is in their career, right? So I wouldn't dismiss foundation by any means, and having a strong foundation is incredibly important. And I think the other area that we hear James talk about a lot lately too is be curious. When you take a look at what's happening in the industry, take a look at trends, take a look at the news,
Yes.
take a look at maybe some areas are outside of your purview or your normal focus, and be curious and take a closer look at what's happening and continue to potentially advance your career. And from a CompTIA perspective, we do a really good job of creating marketing materials like our IT certification roadmap that really helps individuals that are just getting started to get a bigger picture through maybe a camera lens, if you want to call it that, where you open up the aperture and you're like, wow, this is really where I can start and where I can go. But then to your point, Ronald, about that question about the individuals been in the industry for a long time, they probably know some of this already, but you hone in a little bit more on that aperture, you close it a little bit and you take a look at where am I today and where is my employer asking me to go? Where do I want to go? Where do I want to be curious? And what that might look like in the next 6 to 12 months. And so it's just another way to look at it, but absolutely strong foundation and be curious.
Since you're speaking on that, and this podcast that just started, I always want to each episode emphasize something cyber in the news. We were just talking about the cyber attacks on our water infrastructure, and also about a new certification that's coming out towards the end of the year. Could either of you elaborate on that and give us your perspective?
Sure, man. Critical infrastructure is a big deal, meaning the devices, the systems that make it possible to deliver water to your home or business, and electricity, or ATMs, or run X-ray machines, or keep a conveyor belt going in a factory. This is operational technology, right, Garrett? This is increasingly critical infrastructure, and so we have something called SecOT Plus that we're releasing at the end of the year to address this increasingly important issue.
Could you give us a little bit preview or a little information about it?
A couple of things to think about. Garrett, one of the things that we've noticed at CompTIA is that there are two distinct cultures that go on in terms of using critical, or managing, I should say, critical infrastructure. In other words, there's the IT mindset. We've been doing IT, as Garrett mentioned earlier, since the 90s or 80s. What am I saying? Long time. But the operational technology, that's a different culture. They're two different mindsets. Think of it this way. IT, we think in terms of, okay, we can spend a ton of money and get the 5 nines going. 99.99, let me see if I can get this right. 99.999%, right? Which amounts to what, about 3 hours, 4 hours of downtime a year or something like that. You spend a ton of money. It's very difficult to get to that. Let's talk about this in terms of operational technology. Do you realize they laugh at that idea? That's because they have to be up 100% all the time. Why? Because if you can't push that button to stop that conveyor belt, someone dies. Or less dire, the company loses a ton of money because all sorts of equipment gets damaged, or a bunch of goods that are being made get damaged. 100%. It's two different cultures. And to get a little deeper into it, with operational technology, how do you make it 100%? You make it dead simple. You have nothing to get in the way of the signal. And that nothing includes authentication. That gets in the way of the signal. Encryption, access control. Look, we need to make sure that when you push the button, that the conveyor belt stops so that James and Garrett don't get killed. With IT, well, we've got 2FA, and we've got all sorts of networking switches. We've got all sorts of authentication and access control. Two radically different cultures. But what's happened, folks, is those two cultures have been stuck together. Devices that used to just be operational technology, that helps regulate the pressure inside of a tank or inside of a pipeline, and computer technology, they're very separate things. Now they're being combined into one device. And that's why we created SecOT Plus, to help manage how those two cultures now have to work, play, and live well together.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, and taking a look at reading an article about what happened over the weekend and looking at the objectives for SecOT. You have to wonder a little bit, or curious a little bit about, could it have been prevented? What steps or mitigation could have been put in place to prevent it from happening? But when you take a look at SecOT and things like vulnerability assessment and security monitoring in industrial setups, it'll be interesting to see how that is emphasized moving forward. And then, like you said, the union of two different types of groups coming together to be able to better understand how to work together or get new skills to be able to better manage some of the infrastructure and what's happening today. So it'll be a really interesting thing once we turn the corner as we head into the end of this year and the next year, how things like this start to play out.
Absolutely. It was what happened in Minnesota. Was it Minnesota, right?
That was
In
weird. Yeah.
Minnesota, you had a bunch of attacks, likely made by Iran against water delivery systems, and so
Mhm.
you have a lot of boil water notices and people who have very low pressure water. It's interrupting systems. It's a denial of service attack, and these are things that have become increasingly common and worldwide. And
Mhm.
so the question becomes, how do you, and, people engage in blame games and one administration blames the other, missing the points entirely in the
Mhm.
fact that you have kind of culture clashes going on here. And I'm not talking about political culture here. I'm talking about IT and OT political cultures, or IT, not political, sorry, technical cultures going on. It can be managed. And here's the thing, traditionally, the idea of applying operational technology security required, well, real specialized knowledge. The pro comes in from out of town and there's only 3 of them in the US. And, it's kind of like the old CCIE. You know what I'm talking about? The old, there's only 100 of them and they're so elite. It's like, no, these devices and this functionality is everywhere, from shipping to healthcare to everywhere. We need to scale this. And that's what we do at CompTIA. We take what used to be kind of esoteric and niche kinds of things that need to be brought out, kinds of things like cybersecurity with Security Plus. Well, with SecOT Plus, we're bringing this knowledge out so that everybody can act on it. So we really are kind of the great democratizer of technical and business knowledge at CompTIA. And we've done that with AI. We did that with cybersecurity. Now we're doing it with operational technology.
That's amazing. And vendor neutral,
Yeah.
Mhm.
applying to all of just the whole infrastructure and what you can learn. I know what it's done for my career. And once I even heard about CompTIA and going through there, I immersed myself in it. And I still have so much to learn. I'm going to see more videos with you, um, more certifications that I have to get. I want to thank both of you for joining me today on this podcast. I look to have you guys as guests. I have a few other things to ask you. And actually, I got a lot of questions in today that people wanted me to ask you. I hadn't even heard from them in a while until I mentioned you guys. So there.
Awesome. Well, keep them coming. We look forward to being a part of future podcasts, and we appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this with you too. This is great work on your part and what you're doing and
Ronald,
helping to bring a message out to people, right? We need more of this. So this is great, and thank you for setting this up, Ronald.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And like I said, I sincerely appreciate it. And maybe you can get out so we can go back to the National Cybersecurity Center again and
That would
thinking
be fun.
about talking with the doctor to speak
Yeah,
there again. So,
that would be great. Look forward to it.
all right. Thank you guys so much. And you guys
Thanks,
have a
Steve. Thanks,
wonderful,
Ronald.
wonderful
Take
day.
care. All right,
Take
you too. Bye-bye.
bye. Thanks again, Ron. Appreciate
Thank
it,
you,
man.
man.
And
Thank you.
keep on learning, man. And you're just doing a fantastic service for everybody. It's just great to talk to people who can excite the channel like you. So thank you again.
Thank you. And thank you for all the things you've taught me.
Oh man, it's great. Keep on learning. All the best.
All the best. Talk to you soon. All right. Thank you for joining this podcast. Actually, we have a lot of different guests from around the world that I'll be bringing forth. Again, I am the founder and president of US Computer Support. This is sponsored by other companies, a couple of others that I do own. One is someofthebestdeals.com, which provides goods and services from affiliates such as Amazon, eBay, Apple, Microsoft, and a ton of others. Also, I've started a social media company, and you can go and join the from the website and modifying the app. It's called chitchatting.com. So it's chitchat with the letter N.com. And there's a lot of study groups or different things and making it a more tech nuanced social media, but it will still have the sports on there. I'm a big sports advocate, and a lot of the latest news and different things that are going on. I look forward to you joining joining me on there and the others that we have there. I also want to thank Planet Duct for their support and all that they've been able to provide, and the work that they do and making sure they provide professional service to make sure that your duct cleaning is done precisely as you need it to be. And again, CompTIA for the partnership, for everything, for giving me a chance after I left from being a student to start my company, and for teaching me and for continuously meeting with me and taking the time to help me build my skills and to help become better. And one of my key things is to make sure that I help with our national security and educate our nation and of course across the world, but making sure first here in this homeland that I can help educate and keep us up to par. I will be doing a lot of other broadcasts on artificial intelligence. I'm an artificial intelligence instructor and trainer. And later on, there will be next month, I'll do one on robotics and bring in some robots and different things for you to see. Thank you again. And thank you again for joining me at US Computer Support Podcast. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.